Welcome back to the channel, guys. Sorry for the radio silence. I'm sure if you've been following the prep journey, you're wondering what has happened. But I've done the 2 pro qualifiers, and my head was just in the game. And honestly, when I tell you the story about Milan, when I went to do the Amateur Olympia in Milan, you will understand why the radio silence happened. It was a whirlwind, to say the least. It's a pretty crazy story. So I really want to just get stuck into documenting my off season, to be honest, and my growth and the current phase I'm in, moving into the off season. But I thought it would be a bit weird just starting that without actually going through what happened in the pro qualifiers. Did manage to collect some silverware, albeit no pro card this year, but that's absolutely fine. I'll talk through my thoughts. So Milan, Amateur Olympia here, and the Train by JP British Finals. So I'll go through the results as we go and what happened. Now, obviously coming off the back of the regional the regional qualifier, which you saw where I won in my class, the fat loss was done 2 weeks before that. So we brought my food up to, if you watch that video, to around sort of just like maintenance calories just for 2 weeks, just to basically get me as fresh as possible, so we didn't have to do like a real hard feed that, you know, disrupted digestion. So I come off the back of that regional. I didn't have an off-plan meal. We just got straight back to meal plan, straight back to baseline food, you know, no cardio, kept the steps to around 8K and just rode into that Milan show. Now, obviously the Milan show is international, right? So I got everything organized. I was super chilled. I had a very clear head. I was a lot fuller. I was about 2 kilograms fuller going away over to Milan. And then, honestly, anything that could have went wrong, which I'll go through. I won't waffle on too long because, you know, I want to just keep it as concise as possible, just to give you an update, right? So we can start documenting the exciting part, which is the off-season and growth. Anyways, went to Milan. So got to the airport, luckily had all my days worth of food, was super organized, all my water. Got to the airport and my flight was delayed for 3 hours. So obviously, you know, sitting around in the airport, some level of stress, but I was pretty calm. So I was like, well, I've got all my food. I'm just gonna sit here and relax, right? So there was that, which was just draining in its own way, but I just laid back, got a book, and I just had my sort of neck pillow, and I was just like, head in the game, just keeping it chilled. Right, got to Milan, and the Airbnb, to get in, we needed like an online key pass, which was okay. They gave it to us, but when I got to the front door, I didn't have any signal for whatever reason. And I was with my dad, neither did he. So we were just stuck outside. Obviously, I've just been like, you know, 6 hours traveling, and it was just, you know, not what I needed. I was desperate for the toilet as well. I had to run outside and just like piss in gardens where there was like families watching, but I was literally gonna piss. If you're on prep and you're super shredded, you know how quickly that comes on. Anyways, stood outside the Airbnb for about half an hour, right? Trying to get in, trying to ring them, but I had no signal. Anyway, I managed to like find a spot up along the corridor where I could connect to their Wi-Fi, got in. Right, get in, want to have a shower. There's no hot water, the boiler's broken. Great. There's no microwave, even though they said there was. There's all these things, you know, just chipping away. Anyways, got in the flat, got rested, got a good night's sleep, and I was like, right, I'm going to have a good day tomorrow. Tomorrow's registration. You know, I'm ready to go. Let's get it. Get down to registration. The queue is out the door, and I packed. I've never been to a registration where I'm there for more than an hour. So this is where my mistake came in. I packed one meal. I'd just eaten, and we get there and I packed one meal, okay, which was foolish on my behalf. I'll hold my hands up. So get in the queue, and you know, it doesn't look ridiculously long. It's right the whole length of the room, which was like the whole length of the venue. But I was like, well, it's got to be moving surely. Anyway, you stood there and 5 minutes passes and you just stood in the same spot. I end up queuing for 3 hours to register, which, you know, when you're 1 day out from a show, stood up on your feet for 3 hours is not what you want. I'm starting to get very, very hungry, okay? So the stress is accumulating, like, how's this gonna affect my look? Like, every opportunity I'm doing, I'm sitting down, but obviously then people start moving, you gotta get up, and that's just fatiguing in its own way. Anyways, this is where the crazy story happens, right? So at the regional, I measured myself in, and I measured myself here at the pharmacy as well, got officially measured at 191 centimeters, okay? That gives me an 111.6 kilogram weight cap, all right? Now, where I'd been standing all the previous day, like, you know, waiting for in the airport and, you know, traveling, the stress, and then standing in a queue for 3-4 hours, I must have shrunk in weight because they measured me in at 190.2, which is ridiculous. So I'm like 2 kilos over my weight cap. I was like, what the hell do I do? So I'm ringing my coach, Kuba, and he's like, right, go to the toilet, obviously, have a double espresso, try get your bowels moving. And then we were like back and forth, and, you know, I wasn't going. And like an hour passed, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I won't have dropped that much weight because I had, you know, 2 kilograms to lose, which is a lot of weight. You can't just, you know, pee that out, right? So he was like, see if they have any hot showers. So I asked if they have hot showers, because with the hot shower, it will get you sweating, right? They said, oh yeah, and we have a sauna. So I was like, brilliant. So in the venue, in the hotel, there was a sauna. So in the middle of registration, fully clothed, I go upstairs and get into the sauna, right, to try and drop weight. So I get in the sauna, fully clothed, I've got my tracksuit on, and I'm just sat in there, absolutely dripping in sweat through my clothes, just thinking, this is some hardcore shit, do you know what I mean? Like, it felt, at the time, I was like, what am I doing, mate? I'm gonna absolutely ruin myself for tomorrow. Like, you're dehydrated, I'm not feeding, the stress, but I was like, I gotta do it, do you know what I mean? I can't just go home, I can't just not make weight or go into open and get absolutely smoked. So, sitting there for 30 minutes, my head was spinning, and I was just like, I've just gotta get through this. Get outside, weigh myself in the gym, okay, and I'm underweight, luckily, by 0.1, so I was like, hell yeah. Go downstairs, obviously, am I queuing up for another 2-3 hours, dripping in sweat? So I just stormed straight past everyone. Obviously, just my whole clothes, it was like I'd been in a shower, like someone just thrown a bucket of water over me. Eyes were bloodshot with sweat, face was all sucked in and gone. I looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, I look like I'm on heroin or something. So, stormed to the front, I was like, bro, measure me again. Measures my height again, and I'm miraculously 191 centimeters. So whether the sauna relieved some pressure or, you know, stretched me out a little bit or whatever, or he just did it wrong the first time, and I was fuming but happy at the same time, because I was like, that was all for nothing. I've just sat in a sauna fully clothed. Like, the day before a show, you don't want to be dehydrated, you don't want to be underfed, which was the 2 things that I had to do. But anyways, got to do what you got to do, right? And I must have looked like a maniac, like storming past this massive crowd of people, just saturated, dripping. I was literally running off my face. Anyways, got out of queue for that. Finished, measured in, checked in the relief, and he goes, all right, there's the queue to book your tan. About the same, right? I stood in the queue there for an hour, saturated in sweat, probably literally on the verge of passing out, right? Just absolutely dying. I hadn't eaten for like 5 hours. Obviously, I hadn't drunk much water either because I was trying to make this weight. So I was just stood there, my head was spinning, and obviously everyone around me is just chilling, like they've just weighed in, so they're eating. But obviously I didn't bring my food with me, which is my own retarded fault. But the worst thing was I'm just stood there super uncomfortable, just dripping in sweat, and I just couldn't stop sweating. So yeah, anyways, got that done. It was actually madness. Like, looking back, like, it was, you know, I was like, this is horrendous, mate. Like, I was like, there was points where I was like, I'm just gonna fly home. Like, this is just so stressful. And it was just like, from start to finish, stress, everything going wrong. Anyways, got back home, got my feet up, and I just ate all the rest of my meals. Digestion was good, because obviously, like, you know, my body was like a furnace. I was just tearing through it. Got all my water in, woke up miraculously looking good. Now, obviously, I could have looked better, right? But I was actually very happy with the look. I'll throw up some pictures and whatnot from the morning's check-ins. I'll throw up pictures along this video of, you know, stage shots and whatnot. But anyways, woke up, checked in with Cooper, and I was like, somehow we've managed to pull that off. When I got home, obviously, I just took like all my sleep supplements, like tried to just relax, and I just laid on my bed literally from 4 p.m. till nighttime. I got an early night and got all my food in. So, you know, we got it all in, but, you know, anyways, Milan show day, right? I was super calm, luckily. All day I was just chilling. There was still, you know, there's still going to be some sort of offset, you know, sort of like, you know, delayed stress from the day before onto that day, but I was really chilling and I was just laying down all day, just relaxing, getting all my food in. As the day progressed, I was just getting better and better. Now, normally being on stage late in the day is long and annoying, which it was towards the end, but it allowed me more time to rest from the previous day, more time to feed, more time to hydrate. So I went backstage around 2 p.m. and it's just packed with people, like honestly the busiest show. It ended up being like 21 lads in my class, which is obviously super competitive, the most competitive class I've ever done. And then I was just laying backstage and we didn't go on stage till like 6:30 p.m, which is like, I'm just not used to. But anyways, got it done. Posing, we go on stage, some sick lads there, honestly really good competition. I was very happy with my condition. I was nice and full. Waist could have been a bit tighter, just probably from the stress from the day before. I was like struggling to pull a very tight vacuum, and obviously being later in the day I had more water in me to kind of sustain the fullness. But anyways, get brought to the middle straight away in my class, which was, you know, they bring you on in, you know, so there's 21 of us, right? So they just bring you out, and they moved me straight to the middle, which was super exciting. And then I come off stage, and then they read out who is top 5 out of the 21. And then they go into the finals, the first call outs, and then you do your mandatories again with, you know, those lads. They call out my name, brilliant. I was super excited. I was like, holy shit. Like, imagine I went all the way to Milan and then I don't even get the first call outs with all that stress and financial as well, because it's super expensive, guys, to compete abroad. Like really, really expensive, guys. 250 euros just to compete, to register, and then 100 euros for tan, plus all the Airbnb and whatnot. So anyways, yeah, buzzing. Thank God, right? Come out and we go through the mandatories again, do our posing, and then they're just holding us in poses for ages and ages. Now, I look at the photos, right, and there's definitely things I need to work on, which I'll touch on later, what's next with the split. But I'm proud and confident in how I stood up, muscularity-wise and condition-wise. I need bigger arms, I need bigger lats, but like my overall sort of, you know, silhouette and stature on stage really held up. But what let me down was pose and endurance. Like, they were, honestly, towards the end, they were like holding us in a front double bicep, holding us in a front relaxed for like a minute or two, it felt like, anyways. And, you know, I was just having to reset and whatnot. Like, it's very difficult, guys. But, you know, some of the other lads were just very composed. They just, you know, more experienced maybe, or they just, you know, had better composure on stage. And I was just pretty hyped up, right? Because we were laying backstage for like 4 hours, right? And I was literally like almost falling asleep. And then obviously stage time comes and I was getting myself hyped up and probably got myself a bit too hyped. And, you know, I was just posing a bit hard, shaking. And yeah, that's that. So anyways, ended up going to the finals. I came 5th. Okay, so in the top 5 out of 21. You know, my thoughts on that are, that was my first ever Classic Pro qualifier in arguably one of the hardest or / busiest, most popular pro qualifiers, Classic of the year, amateur. And I got in the first call outs. So, and with everything that happened, with all the stress, I managed to pull it off. I managed to keep a cool head, and I managed to keep composure and get on stage and deliver the best that I could. Now, you know, if everything ran smoothly, could have done better, maybe. I might not have been as stressed, might not have been under so much pressure, but, you know, I'm happy with, I'm not happy, obviously I wanted to win, right? But, you know, with everything considered, with it being my first Classic Pro qualifier, super busy competitive show, 21 guys, and getting the first call outs, you know, when I came away from that show, I was in a bad headspace. Like, I was really down, like, the whole trip home. I was just proper down in the dumps, mainly because it was just such a big time investment, stress on the body, physical and mental stress, financial stress, and then I come 5th. Now, even though if I didn't get the first call outs, I would have been in a worse spot. But honestly, got back Sunday, I allowed myself to just chill out, feel a bit down in the dumps. Obviously, I just got straight back to meal plan again, guys. Straight back to it. because then British finals is in 2 weeks. So let myself feel sorry for myself for the rest of the day, stayed off my phone a bit, just chilled, watched TV, got my steps in, stuck to my meal plan though. And Monday, back to business. Turned it around, got my head in the game. Right, next goal, which was so this is the medal for the Amateur Olympia, which is epic, by the way. Like, it's actually sick, to be fair. Like, this is, even though it's 5th, this is my favorite medal just because it looks so sick. And it says Olympia on it, so. Then next, we move on to the British finals, which is the polar opposite of experiences. This was by far probably the most fun I've had at a show, and the most, like, the easiest run into a show possible in regards to stress and organization and whatnot. So the goal for this, again, was just basically replicate the look from Milan, but with a tighter waist and just holding that level of condition and just getting fresher. So literally I just stayed on that same meal plan the whole way through for the next 2 weeks. So for 6 weeks I basically just stayed on the same food and just getting fresher and fresher and just keeping, you know, training performance and intensity like not massively to failure, because I kept, after that show in Milan, I went mental in the gym just to fight some demons, right? And my body was just super inflamed. Like, you know, I looked pretty watery just from the stress of the travel, you know, the stress of the weekend, probably dehydrating in the sauna, and then obviously just beasting myself in the gym because I was like, fuck this, I'm just going to get after it. But at the end of the day, training is for our mental just as much as physical. I wanted to get out of my system, and I don't regret it, because a few days after that, took a step back from training, you know, 1 to 2 rep in reserve, and we just started tightening up again. I'll show you some photos, obviously. Now, then I was 2 weeks out from British finals. So let's go through the British finals. Easy as anything, the lead up to it. Me and Jim, my training partner, we got an Airbnb, hour and 45-minute drive. Lovely, no traffic, flew straight there, nice Airbnb, you know, everything set up, nice kitchen, nice bedroom. Woke up the next day, super chilled, went to get registered. I got registered in literally 5 minutes. They measured me correctly, lo and behold, 191 centimeters. Made weight, I was 111 kilograms when they weighed me in, so I was right at a cap, but that's good. Because obviously that's like after 6 weeks of filling, right, and getting fresh. I did suck down to 106. So that's like, you know, I was 108 on stage. Well, 108 the morning of the show at the regional. So then I was like, yeah, I was like 3 kilos up, and, you know, maybe not quite as ridiculously nutty granite like sharpness, but I was still ridiculously peeled. I'll show you pics. So yeah, I was super happy with the look, and I brought my best look. I posed better, albeit still needs refinement. Some of that could have let me down again. I'm just posing just a bit hard, and I'm just a bit stiff. Like, that's just something I need to work on, but I definitely pose better than the regional. I 100% pose better than the Milan show. You know, when I look at my shots, I'm like, I'm way happier with how I presented myself. Like I said, albeit there are still definitely room for improvement, which, you know, it just comes with having this being my first classic season. Like, you know, just getting used to the poses and just being confident in them as well, which, you know, another year of off season, posing regularly, you know, pulling vacuums constantly, I'll be there, right, for next season. So anyways, how did I do in the British finals? So there's 4 in my class, so it wasn't that busy of a show, and I came second, which obviously at the time I was gutted with, because the main thing is it was very close, in my opinion, and, you know, I've been told that by a lot of people. Julio, I believe his name is, looked immense, sick physique, unreal. It's kind of apples and oranges with me and him. We are very different. He has a very pleasing aesthetic physique. When I show you some photos, he looks great, unreal. Very nice guy as well. But I'm very happy with how I stood up next to him, is my point. When I see poses and comparisons next to him, I'm like, that is close. Then he went on to go into the pro show later that day and come second, okay, and was close to getting an Olympia qualification. So, you know, in my head, you know, not to gas myself up, and this is obviously running before I can walk, but I'm like, if I came close to him, and it was, you know, I don't know how close, right? But when I'm looking at photos, I'm like, I'm confident with how I look next to him, right? He beats me in presentation and also just kind of just that bubbly look. He has very nice bubbly muscle bellies. But, I brought sick condition. Like, I'm very happy with my condition. And I know my shape is there. We just need refinements. I need bigger arms. When I'm looking at any of the winners of the Classic, the people that beat me, the people that are ahead of me, bigger arms than me. Right? Obviously, I need development everywhere, right? Especially in my lats as well, in front doubles, and most Classic shot, I need bigger swooping lats that just hang down. But arms as well, massively. You see all the big Classic guys, they all got massive arms. Anyways, yeah, confident with how I look next to him. He came second in the pro show, so I'm like, I wouldn't look out of place on the pro show, which is what I felt good about, right? So, second place. Not what I came for, but the main thing that I loved is I massively enjoyed that experience. I came away from Milan, and honestly, I had in my head, I was like, I don't even want to do the British finals. Like, I can't be asked. Like, it was just such a long, stressful weekend that just put such a toll on my body and mind. And I was like, if I hadn't said I was doing the British finals, I would just go into an off season and grow. And obviously that was never going to happen. It was just a moment of, weakness when I came back and whatever. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'd said that I was doing this show, and I'm so glad I did, because I had the best time ever. Obviously, being with my training partner by my side, and we both really enjoyed it, and it was a sick experience. And I learned a lot from it, and I know what I need to do. So, 5th place, first call outs in a class of 21 at the Amateur Olympia. 2nd place at the British finals. Pro qualifier. That was my first Classic Pro qualifier. This is my second. So, I can't complain. Obviously, it's not what I came for, but I'm not running before I can walk. And when I first started this prep, this Classic physique prep, I said, before I'd seen my physique come to life, with getting leaner when I was fluffy and, fat in the off season, I said to myself, this is my first Classic season. If I come away with a class win at a regional, I'm happy and I'm satisfied. Everything else is a bonus. I did that on my first show. Whatever happened at these shows is a bonus, right? Obviously, you're like, I got the class win, what's the next goal? Pro card, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I was not chasing a pro card like, this is all I want. It's just the next goal, right? You'd be foolish, you'd be lying to yourself if you said you're doing a pro qualifier and you weren't trying to turn pro. But I also wasn't expecting it, as the main thing. So I didn't go into it like, if I don't get this pro card, I've failed. I just thought, I'm going to give it my best shot. You've got to be in it to win it. You never know what's going to happen. Imagine that Julio wasn't there in my class. I would have been close, right? You just never know. So you've got to just be knocking on the door, and and it's all experience for me. Okay? So now, what is next for me? This is the exciting part, guys. And honestly, I really just have been putting off this video because it's just a talking video and it's kind of boring to make. What I want to do now is start documenting my off season. That's why I'm getting this video out, so we can just start moving forward and just start documenting my journey in growing into the Classic physique category and going again next year. Okay, so we are now in a health phase. I'm 1 week post British finals. Well, it's Monday now. Obviously, it was Saturday, the 19th. So I'm like 9 days post show, right? So pretty much came off stage. We got Domino's that night. Lovely. Went pretty hard on the Domino's, I can't lie. Next day, woke up and had a nice breakfast with Jim, like a sourdough thing and salmon, which I've just been craving for. And then I just got straight back to meal plan. Like, I'm trying to keep as controlled as possible here and utilize this push-up phase. And I'm just going to have one off-plan meal a week. My food's great. I love my meal plan. So the goal right now, I'm just finished my first week of a health phase where I'm going down into a cruise. And the goal of this health phase is just to, get all my blood work into the green. Keep training to. I'm going to run through my training split in a minute, but keep training hard, but not ridiculous, because I'm kind of just letting my body recover here. My body is obviously, we're still shredded. Like, I'm still super lean, and so I need to not just go mental in the gym week one. You kind of have to do like 1 rep in reserve I've been doing really, and just a little bit of a taper back on volume. Let the body recover. Once I've got a little bit more body fat on me, right, then we can go full tilt and start training, which is hard for me, but we're just adjusting volume. So So yeah, I'm now 113 kilos. So 2 kilos up from stage, which is pretty much bang on what I wanted. Like 4 or 5 pounds up from stage, get a little bit of body fat on. I'm sleeping so much better, guys, which is just the biggest blessing ever. Like, I will go to sleep at 9 p.m. and I'll wake up at 5 a.m. Honestly, before I was waking up 10, 15 times in the night. So that itself is probably just the pressure dropping off from, you know, the anxiety of the shows looming and, you know, thinking about your routine, thinking about, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. It's just like a weight lifted off my shoulder. Not that I didn't enjoy it. I absolutely love prep, but anyone who's prepped, it's just this kind of like lingering, it's like very mentally exhausting to be so ridiculously locked in where everything you do is calculated. You know, going to even just walking down to the bins or walking to Aldi, which is a 5-minute walk, I'm like, how is this going to affect the look in 5 days? Like, can I do those steps? Are my legs going to be inflamed? How many, you know, how much reps to failure do I need? Sleep, you know, water, like how much sauce can I have? Like, how's this going to affect the look, my digestion? How can I pull a vacuum? You know, everything is so calculated. When you do that for months, I was in prep for 6 months, it just wears you down. Not to a point where it was like defeating me, but you just don't realize it's happening, right? And then when you finish competing, it's like, oh, like I'm still being locked in. I'm still just 100% on meal plan and getting everything done. And I've pretty much have this mindset that I want to treat my off season like my prep, the same regimen, the same meal timings, and, you know, the same level of urgency, but it's just that pressure coming off of the show day, right? So, plan of action now. New training split, which I'm going to go through every single session for you. I'm super excited about. The goal of which is obviously build everywhere, right? Like, you know, I'm not in a position where I can like not grow a certain muscle, but the goal of which is build arms, a massive set of cannons, and grow my lats. Obviously chest as well needs to come up. Quads and hams need to come up. My glutes do not need to come up. But like, there's a heavy emphasis on arms, heavy emphasis on lats, and obviously chest as well. And then haven't got much adductor work or glute work, it's just mainly quads and hams. So the split is 2 rotations, push 1, push 2, rest, legs 1, rest, okay? Then the same with the second rotation, so different setup per workout. Okay, this honestly, I've run this round through the first rotation, is I can already tell is going to be my favorite workout split of all time. The rest either side of legs is epic. Like, you go in super fresh and you know that you can bury yourself and come out of it and have a rest day the following day. Push comes around really frequently, which is my favorite session. And then pull obviously comes around as well. Rather than last time I was doing push, pull, rest, legs, rest, then upper, lower, rest. That lower session after the upper day, especially like 3 sleeps after the quad day, was just brutal, which is fine. I enjoy doing the hard shit, and it built a effing ton of tissue. Like, I gained 10 kilos of stage weight from the year before, right? Which I'll show you pictures of. The back shot is just mental. 10 kilos of stage weight, lean tissue. Who does that? Anyways, so that is the new split, and I'll run through it. Now, food-wise, I'll obviously run through a full day of eating as the days go on, because now I was pretty much putting this off. Like, I wanted to make YouTube videos, but I was like, I can't just start a full day of eating and my new training split when I haven't even touched on how I did in the pro qualifiers. You might think I just dropped out or something, and, you know, I ain't about that. But I'm pretty motivated to make some more YouTube videos now with my new setup, because it's all very exciting to me and I'm super focused and driven. Like, you know, if anything, not winning has just made me more hungry for progression. So yeah, food is basically pretty much the same, to be honest, calorie intake wise, because, you know, it was around just, you know, around maintenance, maybe a slight surplus, but obviously I've brought drugs down, so that will have an effect on how, you know, the body composition changes. And obviously all the clen has come out. The protein has been raised to help with appetite, because my appetite is still firing, and obviously food focus is still crazy, you know, just being 1 week post show. And then fats have also come up as well, just to, you know, get sleep better and, you know, other bits. And then carbs are actually a slightly bit lower. But that's obviously just for these next sort of 5-6 weeks during the health phase. My food will probably just stay the same there, and my weight will just slowly creep up just from, you know, training performance and sleeping better. You know, you want to, off the back of a show, gain some body fat. Like you need to get into a healthy position to actually perform well and sleep well. And you know, I gained 2 kilograms this week. Maybe I don't really want to go above 100. Honestly, like, I do not want to go above 115 before the end of the health phase. Obviously, I'll just let it do what it has to do. Like, if I'm holding good condition and I go above 115, then sweet, but I can't imagine it will go above that. So then at the end of, obviously, the health phase, we'll go back into a blast, you know, the gear will come up, and obviously then training performance will start. We can start going full mental in the gym, full tilt. It's absolutely sending sessions, and then there'll be more of an allowance for a bit more food and more off plans. But right now I'm being a bit cautious off plans. You know, normally people go absolutely mental after a show, but for me personally, I want to start this next like blast and push up phase as lean as possible, to be as sensitive as possible to the food, to make as much progress as possible. You know, I'm not underfed, I enjoy my meal plan, and for me, I think that's the best way to go about things personally. I love this lifestyle, I love bodybuilding, I love my meal plan, I love structure, I love routine, I love feeling good in the gym, I love having clean digestion. So if I was to go, right, let's just, you know, eat intuitively and eat random shit every day for like 5 days just to, that wouldn't make me feel good. Like, some people, they need that. They're at a 6-month prep, they need that pullback. For me, if I did that, it would be anxiety provoking. I wouldn't enjoy it, so why would I do it? I enjoyed a couple nice meals out, and now it's just back to meal plan, which I love, and it makes me happy. So yeah, that is a plan, guys. So over the coming days and weeks, I'll try to get another video done by the end of this week with one of my training sessions, and you know, a full day of eating, seeing what I'm up to. Some different foods have been brought in, like I'm having sourdough and smoked salmon and eggs every morning. That's Kuba said to me, he was like, do you have any preferences on food? I was like, give me that every day. So I've got that in, and then it's just basically the same food, to be honest, but I love that food, you know. So, and then over the course of, obviously, when we go into a push up, the food will climb. But for right now, just getting healthy, feeling good, getting back in the gym, new split, super exciting, sleep's good, recovery's good. I just feel great, guys. I just feel super focused and hungry for progression, and I'm just so excited to see what I can do with my physique this coming year with this level of drive. Like, coming out of a prep with this militant focus, I just want to ride this wave throughout the whole off season. Like, use the prep mindset, the urgency, the crazy adherence, you know, the drive, the hunger and focus, all off season, with every standard, with the nutrition timings, with the sleep schedule, with the morning routine. Stay doing like the morning vacuums, you know, first thing in the morning, going out for steps, come back, do abs, vacuums, posing. Keep that throughout the whole off season. Everything else, same hydration, salt intake managed. Like, keep that level of drive and focus, and then everything else, you know, I'll just make so much more progression when you just hold the line of that discipline. You know, when sometimes, you know, people get deep into an off season, and you know, I'm definitely guilty of it. Last off season, you start getting a bit fluffier, you know, lethargic. Meal timings start to slip, you start going to bed a bit later, steps start, you know, getting inconsistent, you start missing cardio sessions. This then has a domino effect. If these small percents aren't managed, and you know, you're not taking pride in everything you do, then nothing matters. You know, then your performance starts to slip because you're going to bed too late. You know, your body composition starts to slip because these little snacks and like off-plan eating is just creeping in for every day of the week. Cardio starts to drop. You know, you then lose performance in the gym because you're gassed out and can't brace. These are all things that I'm going to take like a lot of pride in, and just kind of just deliver and set the example of what I think the perfect off season can be, and document it along the way, and then see what progression is possible across the 2024 to 2025 off season, to then go again next year and do more pro qualifiers and see where I'm at. Love you guys. Thanks for the patience. More videos to come. Like and subscribe, please. Speak soon.